President Biden now in France for D-Day commemorations, but another focus on his election year trip will be to highlight differences between himself and former President Trump. NTD's White House correspondent Iris Tao has more from Paris.
And President Biden on Wednesday landed in Paris as he said to mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day on Thursday in Normandy. He'll meet with veterans who fought in the largest military invasion by sea in history and thank them for helping to defeat the Nazis in World War II. Allied nations are pulling out all the stops for this year's anniversary as it could be the last major commemoration in which D-Day veterans, who are now nearing 100 years old, are alive to bear witness. The White House says it will give Biden
an opportunity for him to say thank you directly to the veterans who saved democracy, saved the free world, and set the stage for the decades of peace and prosperity that followed.
Biden will also give a major speech on Friday at Normandy American Cemetery, which is technically American soil since the French gifted this land to the U.S. after the war. The theme of the speech will be freedom and democracy, and targeting audiences at home in the U.S., as Biden will try to frame the war as
an existential fight between dictatorship and freedom.
Biden's expected to seize on the occasion to stress contrast with his 2024 rival, former President Trump, who Biden's campaign is casting as a would-be dictator, a term that Trump has also used to attack Biden. Biden will also meet with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, both in Normandy and next in Italy at the G7 summit. We can also expect President Biden to target Trump, though perhaps implicitly, when it comes to supporting Ukraine and strengthening alliances like NATO. The White House says Biden will talk about the dangers of isolationism and how failing to stand up to dictators would make the U.S. pay a great price. Reporting from Paris, Iris Tao, NTD News.
And President Biden's latest action to curb illegal immigration set to go into effect this evening, highlighting a split within the Democratic Party. NTD's Melina Wisecup has more on why this border action is causing political headwinds for the president.
Democrats are split on border policy. That's the reality that often goes unnoticed until someone stirs the pot, which is happening right now with the Biden administration's executive order meant to shut down asylum claims when the border is overwhelmed. This could go into effect as early as Wednesday evening. While Democrat leadership on Capitol Hill, as well as rank and file members, are embracing this measure, progressives are infuriated. Check out the contrast.
President Biden has taken decisive action to try in a good faith manner to address the challenges at the border.
This is the same section of immigration law that Donald Trump used when he shut down the border is not going to work because it doesn't get at the root causes of any of why people are coming. And it is deeply disappointing.
That's the chairwoman of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which right now is split with Biden on several issues, such as over climate change and Israel policies. Now, with this latest action on the border, this could cause Biden to lose progressive votes from his base, or they could just vote for him reluctantly, considering he is the only option to prevent former President Trump from taking back the White House. The real question lies in how independent voters and those who are either swing Republicans or swing Democrats, how they will react to this latest border measure. Will he be able to sway those swing voters, even if this order proves ineffective, as some predict?
There are two reasons why the Biden border proclamation is not going to be as effective as it appears. First, aliens who enter illegally who would otherwise be subject to expulsion are still going to be able to make de facto asylum claims, again, with a slightly higher standard, but it's going to be the exact same claim. Second, there are so many exceptions in this rule. Consequently, it's going to be incumbent on Biden's DOJ to actually enforce the rule, and they don't really have a great track record on that.
They've been saying the same thing for a long time, since Trump was there. They're saying that the border is going to be closed. They built the fence, they built the wall, but still, the amount of people that come from our countries is too large.
The order is already facing legal obstacles. The American Civil Liberties Union says they'll soon sue Biden over the order, and this could have a similar legal outcome to what happened in 2018 when former President Trump used a similar approach. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Wisecup, NTD News.
Republican Congressman Ralph Norman of South Carolina joined us in studio to discuss the president's new executive action. We also discussed the congressman's attendance at the New York criminal trial of former President Trump. Congressman Ralph Norman, thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Congressman, President Biden today signing an executive order to take action at the southern border. One thing that was noticeable were some prominent lawmakers, Democrat lawmakers running for office, were not in attendance, mostly from swing states. Why do you think that they're distancing themselves from President Biden, specifically when it comes to the border?
2 words, poll numbers. Biden is in the tank for what he's guilty of, which is surrendering this country to illegals from over 170 countries that have come across the border. It's too little too late. He can say he's having to sign an executive order to do what? He's opened the borders up for the last 3.5 years. He can't fool the American people to say all of a sudden something's going to change. Look what he's done to the 350,000 asylum seekers. He turned them loose in America with no papers, no orders to come back. They're free to roam the country. 350,000. So it's too little too late. It's all optics with him. And look at the timing, 6 months before November 5th, and he's suffering in the polls as he should.
And to your point, absent Remain in Mexico, which was obviously a major part of H.R. 2, do you see any type of peripheral border action helping that situation?
Oh, absolutely not. If it was, I mean, his remedy, if you will, was a Senate bill that let 5,000 per day come in this country. That was his border control. And the Border Patrol agents that we talked to, they're instructed to basically let everybody come in. They're pushing the papers on through without, if they say they need to enter the country under threat from the other countries they come from, they're in. So bottom line, we have a lawless administration who is posing a severe national security threat to America, coming across every day. Over 40,000 foreign nationals, young men of fighting age in this country. And it's an invasion and it's a violation of the Constitution. And as he's done the whole 3.5 years, the Constitution he's shredding.
Congressman, I want to switch gears and get your thoughts on former President Trump's New York City criminal trial. You were actually there not too long ago. What made you go, and what did you actually witness while you were there?
2 things. I want to show support for President Trump. And secondly, I want to see it firsthand what they're doing. It's a kangaroo court, Steve. I mean, it's a court that they picked Manhattan because it was anti-Trump, like the judge is anti-Trump, like the prosecutor, Alvin Bragg, is vocally anti-Trump. And their whole point was to build a sham case and convict him, just what they've done of 34 counts. And it's the first time in history a sitting president, 1, has been charged with this, and 2, they still haven't named who's the victim, what's the crime. If you and I run a red light, we know what we're charged with. We pay a fine. But with this, who's the victim and what crime did President Trump do? It was nothing. It's the good news is the American people see through it. That's why his fundraising numbers are up. His 1 month fundraising numbers were over $120 million. Biden's combined for 2 months didn't touch that, and a lot of it is in new donors who have not contributed before, and they see the injustice that's being done to an innocent man.
Congressman Ralph Norman, really appreciate you joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Former President Trump's 2024 presidential campaign opening up its first office in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania. This as Trump continues to gain a foothold in several major swing states. NTD's Sam Wong has the latest.
On Tuesday, former President Trump's 2024 presidential campaign opened its first office in Pennsylvania. Freshman GOP Representative Wesley Hunt headlined the grand opening ceremony. Located in Philadelphia's Holmesburg neighborhood, the office sits in a district where President Biden won by a significant margin in 2020. But in the wake of Trump's conviction in New York City, the former president's momentum appeared to be picking up in several key swing states. According to a Main Street research poll, Trump leads Biden by 2% among all voters in Pennsylvania. Trump is also edging ahead in Michigan and Wisconsin, all of which Biden won by narrow margins in 2020. When it comes to fundraising, the Trump campaign said it receives a staggering $141 million in donations in May. A significant portion of that surge came within 24 hours of the guilty verdict. Even with that amount, Trump is still being outpaced by Biden in fundraising. The Biden campaign say they've hired over 500 staff members and opened nearly 200 offices in multiple swing states. With Trump now gaining momentum in the Keystone State, an anti-Trump GOP super PAC has embarked on a commercial blitz in Pennsylvania along with several other states. The coalition, called the Republican Accountability PAC, hopes to convince disillusioned Trump voters to oppose the former president. With 19 electoral votes up for grabs, Pennsylvania is considered the most important swing states in the 2024 presidential election. Sam Wang, NTD News.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.